Superman 17, Legacy number 860. This is Joshua Williamson writing with Jamal Campbell on the art. So, once again, this is a tie-in to Absolute Power. This is Superman and Zatanna going on their own little adventure to try and... what's it they're looking for again? I've actually forgotten.
They're looking for the map of Mordru.
That's right, okay.
Because the map of Mordru will allow them these, like,
to travel. Yeah,
tunnels.
They can travel in the magical tunnels and get anywhere, including anywhere in the multiverse, not just on Earth or whatever. So, yeah, that's what their goal is. There's a quick flashback at the start to like Superboy. Clark as Superboy getting his ass kicked by a magic user, and
Kid Warlock.
Who pops up later as well. To be fair, and I'm like, oh, is that a continuity thing right now? Was he Superboy before he became Superman in current continuity? I didn't think he had been, but
I don't know at this point. It's hard to keep up.
I will say that on a personal level, I don't like him being Superboy before he's Superman because I feel like the impact of Superman, like debuting in the world, is lost if he was running around in the same outfit as a teenager. But
that's where Smallville, for all its hate, there was the concept of the red blue blur that was running around Smallville, right? So they got to have their cake and eat it too, but he wasn't Superboy.
I don't know how you turned that into praise for Smallville of all things.
I'm just saying, there's the concept of Clark operating in Smallville without wearing the suit and being Superboy. I felt like they balanced it pretty well.
Yeah, or any version of Superman where he's not putting on a suit and doing stuff when he's a teenager.
I'm saying I want to point out the red blue blur. That's all.
Okay. So yeah, they end up going to the Oblivion Bar, and it takes some time. Although Clark kind of freaks out a little bit and starts punching the wall because he's kind of hitting him that he had to fight John back at the fortress because this does take place.
This is a very. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it does take place after issue 2, Absolute Power, just to keep that.
But I was gonna say he's a very angry Superman, and not just like angry. You can tell Williamson's writing him pretty well that he's irritated, and he kind of just like Pete said, he had to fight John. And he's not okay with that. He's very upset. He's worried about his son, and now he's doing this magic side quest. So,
and he is magic. So that's where we are with that now. So yeah, there's obviously a bit of an interlude here with Waller and more primarily Lois, who's on that super armor. Although it is pointed out to her quite quickly by Mercy that suit can be tracked, so it might be worth taking that off because Waller's probably going to come knocking, if not. But this is actually where Mercy finds out Lex has lost his memories. If I at least there's a great laugh here actually just before Mercy shows up, where Lex says, I wish I was this Lex you knew because it sounds like I could help. He sounds like he was a great man. And then there's just this awkward silence as everyone in the room stares at him and just doesn't know how to respond. And Jimmy's like, well, anyway.
I like that there's like an ellipsis behind them, in the art.
Oh yeah. It's a nice touch.
That shows that, and just the look of shock on Lena and Silver Banshee's face too. Very, very well handled.
Yeah, they're all in shock that he said that, and I don't know how to tell you this, but you're actually kind of an asshole. But oh well. So yeah, there's a whole thing here where Superman and Zatanna, who also does not have her magic powers, they have to get this book that she buried somewhere to try and like help get back to the Oblivion Bar. It was kind of like think of it as a key under the plant pot, effectively, to try and get back without magic. And basically there's these flamethrower dudes here try to destroy everything, try to destroy Swamp Thing even. So Swamp Thing's actually there trying to like hold everything together whilst they're going to the bar. There's a really cool bit of art here though when she actually reads the spell out of the book, when they just make it out in time before they get flamed. Where all of their bodies start turning into like the words and letters of the book, and it's like they're going into the book, almost. It's a neat effect. There's obviously Jamal Campbell's doing a lot of good work here. Yeah,
so they're turning into like words like Oblivion Bar and Once Upon a Time, right? And then they get pulled into the book, and then as they exit through, right, to the door of the Oblivion Bar, they materialize from those same words.
Yeah.
So it's a really fun sequence.
Yeah, and they go to the bar, and there's a bunch of magic users who are just hiding there. I love how it mentions, oh yeah, the bar got attacked before, but then repaired itself, and it says, oh, editor's note, that was in, Task Force 7 issue 3. And I went, I didn't even know that happened. I could have just not read that editor's note and I'd have been fine. I didn't need to know that it got attacked and came back. Yeah, so this is where like Superman gets kind of pissy and starts calling everyone here cowards because they're all hiding. And this did feel a bit out of character. And again, it may be justifiably out of character because of how he feels right now about John. But they definitely don't shy away from him just being mad that everyone's here, not trying to pitch in and help. So yeah, this is where what's his face, Kid Warlock shows up. Although, as he points out, not much of a kid anymore. But
branding, bro.
Yeah,
that's that's the voice I heard it in.
Yeah, so he tries to basically attack Superman. Superman fights back. It's a whole thing. So they have a bar brawl, effectively.
Yeah, I love that Superman, even though he doesn't have his powers, right? And this guy's attacking him with magic. He just gives him the old, heave-ho shoulder toss, like on the farm. I thought that was pretty fun.
I think, I mean, the idea here from him is that he had to worry about magic even when he had his powers, so he's just dodging it the same way. Although, admittedly, he can't do it as quickly, I suppose, as he could when he had his powers. But yeah, just regular physical force. But anyway, the cliffhanger of the issue is that Neron's there and he has access to the scroll or the map. So he's got a fun entrance at the end. I thought this was an alright issue in terms of, like, it felt like it was fitting into Absolute Power well enough. I like catching up with the supporting characters, with Lois and Jimmy and all that. Art's really good. I will say, compared to the last issue, I do think that it was maybe a little bit one note for the Superman and Zatanna stuff, in that they're just kind of on this journey and they get from point A to point B to point C, and then it's all just about getting to Neron at the end. So when I look back on it as a whole, I don't really feel like their story had much other than just them traveling, but it wasn't a bad read by any means.
No, I like that, and I like the Oblivion Bar stuff though, because the out of character Superman stuff, it's showing like Absolute Power is actually having an effect on him, right? Even if it's just personal, there are going to be these ramifications. And it's just like, is he still Superman, right? Without the powers, but in that way that being invulnerable and having super speed and super strong, it can really add to your patience level, right? But when you're feeling helpless and then all this stuff starts happening to you and you feel like you're not in control anymore, what does that do to a person? And I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like I think I like the last issue more as in terms of quality for a tie-in, but I still wasn't mad I read this. I still thought it was a decent enough tie-in to the book, and given how I wasn't necessarily that into Williamson's run before, it still feels like a reasonable step up, or at least a sideways step compared to his regular books. So yeah, like I have, like, I'm not that enthusiastic about it. Like, I'm not, running to the rooftops to shout about it and say, hey, it's this great issue. But as far as like a little slice of like some of these super characters and what they're up to during Absolute Power, it was fine. And Zatanna being a bit of a focus is nice. As a sort of ally for Superman, a little bit different than who he normally runs around with. So yeah.
I like that too, and also they mentioned that she technically can't be there because she's not a magic user right now because she's been affected by the Amazos, right? So there's that, where this lady that's usually our key in also isn't allowed. I thought that added a little bit there too. And then Neron, if this is following that continuity that we were reading in Nightwing and stuff, right? There's the struggle, and he's essentially been kicked out of hell. So him showing up here, how does that play into anything else that's coming out, like with the Doomsday stuff that we know is coming down the line, right? I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Honestly, it all just kind of comes down to that. This was all about just building up to Neron. So, what is that going to be next time? What sort of deal is he going to make? Because that's what his final line is. We can make a deal. So, but what does he want?
And that's kind of his thing. Yeah, everything to do with Neron is always a deal.
Yeah, well, it's the deal with the devil, right? That's the
Mhm.
whole point of it. In fact, there's literally a poster says that the devil behind him on that
Yeah.
last page,
Yeah.
just to really sell it in case you didn't get it. Yeah. Honestly, the
Mhm.
color scheme is very low-key, actually. They're definitely going for kind of a,
Yeah, the
similar
green and
vibe.
gold, and then his shadow behind him has the big horns,
Yeah,
right? So, you know,
yeah. Plus the green flame, which arguably is a bit more Power Rangers than it is anything
a bit,
else. You
a
know,
bit.
but yeah, no, it's a fine issue. It's a fine issue.
Mhm.
Nothing exceptional, nothing to get super excited about, but not a bad read either. What are you
Mhm.
giving Superman, Matt?
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Mm, the art might just about get up. No, I'll go 6.5. I was thinking about it. The art is obviously very good from Campbell, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's in that fine to okay good range. That's what you're looking at here.